Hello, beautiful soul. It's your show host, Regina Huber from Transform Your Performance with the same website, transformyourperformance.com. And today I am live from Miami, Florida, United States. If you met me before, here or anywhere else, you know by now that I'm an adventurous, eclectic nomad with a business based in New York City and passionate about traveling. And I have definitely a long list of travel plans for the next few months and a lot of travel already behind me. So expect to see me in different locations as we move along together in the journey of these episodes of my show, What's Your Spark? Because it's really hard for me to sit still in one place for a very long time. As you may also have seen in previous episodes, I'm still wearing my sling. I had surgery yesterday, and so please excuse this somewhat strange outfit here today, and hopefully not too much longer. My eclectic life and experience on 5 continents has allowed me to become a multicultural and multilingual transformational leadership coach and inspirational speaker. And because I have seen such a multitude of sparkling brilliance in women all over the world, I have made it my mission for this show and for all its episodes to inspire you to ignite a fire wherever your path leads you, to move up that light control switch and really bring it up all to the top and shine your brightest light so you can increase your income, your influence, and with it, your impact, which of course then allows you to live a more fulfilled life. Once again, welcome to your show, What's Your Spark? What's Your Spark is about how you can show up more powerfully in business and in leadership and sparkle your unique leader brilliance out to the world. Beam like a dazzling star with it. Shine with such a bright light and such a spark that people have to put on their sunglasses when they look at you. When I talk about leadership, this always refers to leadership in any capacity. And that doesn't mean you need a leadership position to be a leader. Leadership is an attitude, and it starts with self-leadership. And today, we're going to lay the foundation for self-leadership, which is self-awareness, self-knowledge. Are you ready? I sure hope you are. But before we dive in, I want to remind you to grab your dedicated journal or a notepad if you don't have a journal for now, and take lots of notes. Because as you listen to my show episodes, I want you to learn and to really implement what you learn. Because listening alone can feel very inspiring for sure. But how many times have we attended a conference or some other event and got all fired up and cheered up and excited and hyped and all of the good stuff? And we had the best intentions. And then we went home and life happened, and we went right back into our old routine and into our old habits, forgetting all about the action we were going to take. So while you're watching these weekly episodes, you also want to take advantage and really do the work for yourself so you can take yourself to the next higher level, whatever that is for you, because this is absolutely free of charge. I will do that as soon as I have a break in between meetings too. I do my own, I use my own recipes, because I want to offer you content that I have tried myself on myself and also with my clients. And, a lot of people pay a lot of money during trainings for this content. So really, really take advantage. And, you may already be on a very high level right now, but there's always more. We all want to keep growing, or at least that's what I assume you want if you are here today and listening in. Our 2 overarching topics for this episode are distinctive uniqueness and a self-empowering mindset and heart set, which are the 2 pillars well, 2 or 4 pillars, I should say, of my coaching framework, Powerful Leadership Transformation. In previous episodes, we talked about purpose, about knowing and owning your value, about your special strengths, about what distinguishes you as a leader. We covered all the awesomeness in your distinctive uniqueness, your unique qualities or assets, as I call them, your purpose, your super value, your superpowers, all the great things that distinguish you and that help you stand out. Everything that makes you so magnificently unique. We also covered a lot of aspects of self-empowering mindset. And the last episode, if you saw that last week, was about heart set. And all of this is already in previous episodes. So if you missed these episodes, you can still catch the recordings on the Win-Win Women website and catch up on those as well. Today, we'll be focusing on other pieces of your distinctive uniqueness that are closely tied into self-leadership. Know thyself. I think we all agree that it is important to know ourselves, right? But how do we get there? How do we do that? Well, we get there through self-inquiry. How does self-inquiry work? We take out time for self-reflection and introspection, for self-observation. We also observe ourselves as we interact with others. How does our behavior change depending on who we interact with? Does it change at all? It's a process of continuous self-observation and correction and self-discovery, which then leads to greater self-awareness and self-knowledge. Self-discovery can be scary, of course, because it requires that we become vulnerable, that we are honest with ourselves, that we admit our fears, and we allow ourselves to look at our emotions. We will have to admit that there are things about ourselves that are not perfect, although, you know, as a whole, as a being, we are already perfect, but you know what I mean, that, you know, we don't always behave in the perfect way, that that there are things that we don't maybe like about ourselves. And we'll need to admit that we have biases and shortcomings. We all do, and that's okay, but it's important to be aware of them. Taking a close look at who we really are and how we may be perceived by others takes courage. And it takes honesty, but it's so worth it, because self-awareness is an empowered state. It's a self-empowered state. Yeah, it's self-empowered vulnerability. It allows us to let go of elements in us that do not serve us and to transform. And self-awareness also means you take a deep look at your potential. That again takes courage, because once you've gotten in touch with that unlimited potential that you have, because we all have it, you now have no more excuses to not use it. Yes, so that can be a bit scary in itself. Now, what do I mean by self-awareness? Let me share a slide with you that will help you understand more of what I mean by it. Please be a little patient with me. With the left hand, I'm not as good here with the slide sharing. So I appreciate your patience today. And let me go back again here. Okay, thank you so much for your patience. Self-awareness is all about, let me see, sorry for this. Okay. Self-awareness is so important because we are highly, I will just move out of the slide sharing. I'm sorry, but this is just not working here as I want it to work. So let's just look at it like this. Okay. Self-awareness is about many things because we are slightly complex beings. So let me give it a little bit of an overview. Self-awareness is about knowing my strengths and my shortcomings. Yes, being aware of my shortcomings allows me to either learn or develop specific skills that I need or want to have, or find people with complementary skills. If I'm a business owner, I'd want to add these people to my team, or I could outsource work to other people with complementary strengths and skills as well. Knowing my inner narrative and programming, for example, my beliefs, my biases, my thought patterns, my triggers, and how these inform my choices and behaviors. This is all about self-awareness. Your subconscious accounts for about 95% of your behavior, meaning over 95% of our behavior is driven by our subconscious mind. Vera Birkenbiel, a German lecturer, said, if you compare your subconscious to the conscious, the subconscious is about 7 miles and the conscious is about an inch. And this subconscious programming often overrides our conscious decisions or intentions. So our subconscious programming often takes over. How often do we intend to do something and then procrastinate on it, or even do the polar opposite of what we intended to do? Let's also talk about biases. We all have biases. There's no denying that. And many of them are unconscious. It's part of our survival mechanism to distrust what's less familiar. It's anchored in our reptilian brain. So it's not our goal to be 100% bias-free. Actually going to come back here on my screen because that is so much nicer, and you've gotten already an overview of this of the slide I was sharing. You know, it is really anchored in our reptilian brain to have biases, and that's why I said just now it's not our goal to be 100% bias free. What's important to do always is to be bias aware, though. So we can catch our biases and say, hey, does this really make sense? And correct our thinking and our behavior accordingly, and gradually eradicate more and more of our biases and our prejudices. I know a lot of people may not agree, but we are literally born with biases. Maybe not the ones that society wants us to believe we have, but we certainly have biases in our genes already. And I personally believe from my own studies and experiences that we bring them in from past or parallel lives. As part of my holistic studies, I did a lot of self-knowledge work where I went into experiences beyond this lifetime. And I also learned how to muscle test beliefs and how to muscle test biases about people and peoples, by the way, that I didn't even know existed. But of course, you don't have to take my word for it, and you're free to have your own beliefs around that. Just do your own research. What's important is that we know we have biases, and it's part of being human, just as it's part of being human to not be able to manage my technology perfectly today with my left hand because I'm right-handed. And you know, it's just, you know, acknowledging these things so that then we can make the best of the situation. Yes, acknowledging this can be tremendously powerful because it allows us to address what needs to be addressed. So much of this is subconscious or unconscious. How then do we know what unconscious beliefs and biases we even have? Well, we can gain insights into our subconscious programming or conditioning by observing our patterns, our thought patterns, our behavioral patterns, our emotional patterns. 70 to 80,000 thoughts a day is the number of thoughts we think a day. Can you imagine? 70 to 80,000 thoughts we have a day. And how many of those do you think are repetitive? Well, according to studies, 90% of them are repetitive, of the same nature as the thoughts we had the day before. You may ask, why are we then thinking them again if we already thought them yesterday? Isn't that totally superfluous? Well, it's because they are part of our programming and our programmed thinking. The question I like to ask myself is, am I consciously thinking my thoughts? Am I repeating thoughts that I don't want to think? Or in other words, am I in charge? Yeah, or are my thoughts in charge of me? Or are my thoughts thinking me? Are my thoughts in charge? Because I definitely want to be in charge of my thoughts rather than the other way around. And I'll be talking more about that also in future episodes, when we'll be refocusing again on mindset, as we did in some past episodes already. I already mentioned triggers earlier. Triggers are about emotional self-awareness. Yeah, how do others influence my emotional state? And how do I deal with that? Can I take a step back when I'm triggered and recognize the trigger and deal with it in a more empowered way? It's also about blind spots. And, some of the blind spots we want to talk about are conversational blind spots, which are greatly influenced by fear and other emotions. Oftentimes, we're not even aware of those conversational blind spots in our communication. Self-awareness is also about knowing what my core values are and how they are aligned with the work I do, with my business, or with the organization I work for. Are they in integrity with who I am? Or rather, are my core values representing the business or the work I do or the job I work in? Yes. And self-awareness is, of course, about understanding the impact of my behavior has on others. How am I perceived by others? Understanding that my perception of my behavior might be different than others' perception of me. I might, for example, be inadvertently pushing people away or alienating people or shutting them off. The question is there potentially a gap in perceptions? Self-awareness is about understanding that my words may sound different to different people, and they will be interpreted differently by different people because of these people's own conditioning, whether it's cultural conditioning, family conditioning, religious conditioning, educational conditioning. It doesn't matter. We all have it. Yes. Self-awareness is about knowing your motivators and your drivers. What drives you? Are you really clear on that? This is related to what we commonly call our why. What's your why? And the list goes on, of course. It doesn't even fit all on one slide. For example, also we talked about value in a previous episode. So what is my own value in all of this? What is my worth? Am I valuing myself enough? What's my unique brilliance and greatness? What makes me special? What makes me uniquely precious? Am I truly aware of the precious gems that I have in my hands to work with? Have I ever truly and deeply researched my own value? All of this was part of your distinctive uniqueness and your unique assets. And how is all of this related to my purpose on this planet? Am I using my brilliance to drive my career and make an impact? To drive my business success, to serve as many people as possible through my business, through who I am and all the precious talents that I bring to the table. What else is there that I have not uncovered yet in my unlimited potential? What else should I be exploring there? What about my self-confidence? Am I confidently displaying my value? How can I raise my level of confidence if necessary to achieve my goals? What habits do I have rather than what habits do I have that I'd rather not have? Yeah. How can I replace these habits with more empowering habits that actually give me the results I want? We'll talk more about habits as well in future episodes because that's such a big topic, right? Also, what is my personality type, my leadership type? There's a plethora of personality tests available online, paid and free. Some of the most famous ones are probably DISC, the Myers-Briggs, 16 personality, color Q. I love color Q personally because it's so simple. And it also allows us to easily explore not only our own personality type, but also identify other people's personality types. For example, the people that we are surrounded by at work. Yeah, the people we share our home with, whoever it is. So why do we want to uncover all of this then? Why do we want to raise our self-awareness and gain greater self-knowledge? Well, it's because greater self-awareness and knowledge gives us greater understanding, and understanding is the prerequisite for leadership success. Leaders who transform themselves can transform the world. Why? Because as authentic, self-aware leaders, we have an easier time to build trust and to inspire others. Deep self-awareness and mastery of self-empowerment allows us to not only increase our influence and impact, but also our success and fulfillment. It enables us to create relationships built on trust as we raise our emotional intelligence. We enhance our leadership presence and we come across as more authentic, while also powerfully displaying our unique brilliance. Effective self-leadership and personal transformation always go hand in hand. Greater self-awareness also leads to greater social awareness. And the transformation that comes with self-knowledge is the prerequisite to rise up to your highest leadership potential. I'm saying it again. Leaders who transform themselves can transform the world. And I know you can be one of them. So here's my question to you. How are you planning to better lead yourself? What in you do you need to look at? How are you going to tackle possible shortcomings, limiting beliefs, limiting thought patterns? Are you aware of your personality type? Are you deeply aware of your potential? Do you have a daily routine that allows you to upgrade your mindset to increase your leadership potential or leadership thermostat even? Yeah, to step into that next level of your potential, to practice self-leadership, self-growth, self-empowerment. No one can empower you but yourself. Are you potentially playing smaller than you really are because you haven't explored yourself enough? You haven't looked into the depths of your unlimited potential. How can you grow? Do you have a big vision? Should it maybe be bigger? And what's your emotional self-control? Are your emotions serving you? Do you use them as indicators rather than as debilitators? If you're over empathic, how do you manage your empathy? Are you able to transform it into compassion rather than suffering with others, which doesn't really serve anyone? Are you in integrity with yourself and with what you want to see changed in the world? Or are you compromising too much? See, questions over questions. These are some of the questions we want to ask ourselves. And there are many more. And we want to find answers to these questions so we can grow through this self-discovery process and take aligned action as a result. Now, what is aligned action? It's action that is aligned with our purpose, our vision, our goals, the impact we want to make, the life we want to live, and the legacy we want to leave, but also what we want to teach our children through example. Greater self-awareness leads to better and more effective self-management. It becomes easier to get along with others and with self. Over time, we become more at peace with who we are. And it's getting easier to handle conflict effectively and to lower our resistance to dealing with conflict. It's only logical. When we get better at doing it, it becomes less painful. And this makes us more solution oriented. We'll have internalized our values, our understanding of the world, and we'll have learned to articulate better once we've consciously gone through self-discovery, which then enables us to express our ideas more clearly and gracefully, and to become better communicators, to inspire others much more powerfully. We can use our enhanced sensitivity to improve our interactions with others and therefore our relationships with others. And of course, our relationship with self. As we increase our self-knowledge, we can also find our tremendous inner power, this unlimited power that's inside of us, our deepest core, our spiritual being. We sometimes call it the I am. When we are connected with our spiritual essence, the I am, that's when we can more easily find our life force, our faith in everything working out for us. Our strength as a human comes from our connectedness with our spiritual self. After all, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, right? And as spiritual beings, we are unlimited, truly unlimited. And we're also connected with all other human beings. Truly understanding our interconnectedness increases our level of compassion, and it allows us to experience unconditional love. Now, you may ask, what does all of this have to do with leadership? Well, everything. Because don't we want compassionate leaders? Don't we want authentic leaders? How can we even be authentic if you don't know who you are? Don't we want courageous leaders? How can you be courageous if you don't know where in you or how you can find your courage? We want to be ethical leaders. That implies being in integrity with self, with others, and with the world around us, as I mentioned earlier. And we want inclusive leaders. Understanding yourself increases your ability to understand others and to include and respect them more naturally, to see their individual brilliance and to honor them. We want leaders who share power and not leaders who exert power over others. But how can we share power if we're not even aware of our own power, our inner power? The ones with a need to oppress others or be authoritative are usually people who are not aware of their sacred inner power. Hence the need to feel important by oppressing others, by ordering them around. Power over others is not real power, ladies. Power over others is illusional. It goes away when those who we want to exert power over no longer consent to it. Important fact for our current times, don't you think? Your inner power, no one can take that away ever from you. Once you know you have it and you connect to it and you own it. This is how some of our great ethical leaders made it through tough times. And you can too. And if you would like to find out more about how you can take your self-leadership to the next level and this way become a more advanced leader of self and others, let's chat. Just sign up for a session with me. I'm offering this absolutely free at calendly.com/transformyourperformance/30 MIN call, 30-minute call, so 30 MIN call, or just send me a message to Regina@transformyourperformance.com if that's easier. So see you next time, next Wednesday, same time, same place, when we'll be talking about another very exciting topic. I will have a surprise guest on. So stay tuned until next Wednesday. And in the meantime, don't let anyone dim your light. Keep shining, sparkle away like a precious pearl, because the world is your oyster.